how do you say your fortune?
Like
a fortune cookie.
Ja.
Yeah, for the Eiskuchen?
Die Zukunft vorhersagen.
Yeah.
In die Zukunft schauen.
In Eiskuchen, my cousins would they would write your fortune. And we're from different cities. The husbands were from Bunda. And then the wives came. And there's a very good story, too. With this tombstone, there's a good story.
Eine gute Geschichte kommt gleich.
And here is Elise Rosenwald. There were 4 brothers.
Oh yeah, and his
And
brother.
this was the wife of Bernhard.
Bernhard,
Okay.
yeah.
And then Samuel went to America.
And Bernhard?
Bernhard stayed in Bunda.
Stayed in Bunda.
Yeah, and Bernhard and Elise had 3 children.
Yes.
They had Simon, Julius, and Regina.
Ja.
That was the Gebrüder Rosenwald, the Zigarrenfabrikant, war auch die Sonne von Bernhard und Elise. And then Elise war geboren Weinberg. Okay? And when Christina sent me the photo of this tombstone, I called my aunt and I said, why is there somebody from 1828 who has the same maiden name or unmarried name as my great-grandmother, Emma Weinberg.
Yes.
Emma Weinberg Rosenwald. And apparently Elise was the aunt, die Tante
Ja.
of Emma.
Yes.
And her husband, Bernhard,
Yes.
was the uncle of Bendix. So when Emma Weinberg came from Detmold to visit her aunt and uncle, she met their nephew from Bunda. And then they got married. Emma and Bendix met each other at their house in Bunda, and then they got married.
Yeah.
So that was the aunt who connected them.
Actually, it's Village Spanier. We can maybe look at Village Spaniers.
Yeah.
Yeah? Just in case. Village Spanier and Erna are buried here.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did his first wife die in the Holocaust, or
No.
no? She died before the.
It could have been that Erna was in fact his first wife, but certainly Willy was her second husband.
Ah.
And she was the last person to be buried here in 1983
Huh.
in this cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think my cousins, there was Bernhard and Elise, and then there was Simon, was their son, and then the children from Simon were Ernst, Otto, and Lotte. And Ernst's daughter, Margareta Schreiber, came to Bunda with her daughter, and I think they visited Erna Spania, in probably 1980, and she was very old at the time. But they went. People said you have to meet this woman.
Yeah.
She's the last Jewish person
She was the last
living
living
in
Jew.
Bunda. Yeah,
Willy wasn't Theresienstadt, but he survived.
Huh.
3 Bunda people came back.
from Theresienstadt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Or from different places. Yeah.
3 came back. Willy Spanier, Johanna Meyer, and the other one was Erna. Yeah, they both were in Theresienstadt.
This is room, and sometimes she has forgotten.
The glasses. Yeah.
Yeah, they visited that.
Does she remember who the maid was at the Rosenwalds, or no? She doesn't remember the name of the woman
No,
who worked with the Rosenwalds?
just the family.
Oh, just the Rosenwalds name, yeah. 6. And she was married to Simon. And she was the grandmother of Marge Schreiber, but Marge never knew her grandmother. But everybody, I think, loved her very much. And her, let's see if I can get this right, something like her great-great-great-granddaughter is named Allison, and then I think her middle name is Helene, for Helene Rosenwald. And also Helen Stahl is her granddaughter. Helen Stahl, who lives in North Carolina, is named for her grandmother, Helene Rosenwald. Rosenwald, yeah. This is Bendix, and because it's so hard to read the gravestone, we were going to do a rubbing of it, because I also think it's a very pretty gravestone with the laurel, and I would like to give this to my aunt to show her that it's still there. And she asked me to check. There used to be a bench, I think somewhere here or maybe here, where Emma could come and she could visit her husband, and she could sit down then because she was, an older woman. I think she was born in 1869, and he died in 1919. So she was already 50 years old when her husband died, which is not so old. But she would come here very often to visit him, and she brought my aunt here too. And there was a bench, but the bench is obviously no longer here. So we looked around to see if there was any evidence, but we couldn't find it. So, do you have the crayon? So, okay.
You can try them all.
I'm gonna set this down here.
The different thicknesses and qualities.
Do you mind holding? Thank you. See, I think this is good.
Is it big enough?
Yeah, I think so.
We could try and see what goes better.
Muss vielleicht eine halten, ha?
Das ist das Festkleben.
Festkleben,
Muss
ja.
festgeklebt
Ach
werden. Könnte ja auch helfen gerade, vielleicht.
Schade.
Okay.
David,
Ja?
nimmst du einmal noch mal das Papier weg?
Yeah. You really can't see it, because it's so.
I did it with my fingers and wrote
Yeah.
the text down.
Yeah.
Dann können wir dann nämlich vielleicht so zwei kleine machen, so nebeneinander. Einmal die Platte und einmal wie er das jetzt gleich macht.
Ja,
Okay.
schön.
Okay. And I've never done this, so
That's okay,
I think this is better than.
Okay, we'll help you.
Bin ich jetzt verkäse.
Okay, we're going to put that in detail. And it really fixed properly. Michael has got proper Tesafilm, but
You know what? I think we have to move it over a little bit. We have to move it over a little bit. I just got it wrong.
yeah, okay.
Right?
Ich hätte ja bestimmt für 3 Aufgaben, ne? Schade. Nee, weil ich hatte jetzt auch gedacht, erstmal war ich gestern nicht ganz fertig gewesen, ich hatte noch so ein paar Fragen gehabt. Und dann
Also
wollte ich
maybe
jetzt
if I go to
fertig
the
gemacht.
if I go to the airport
vom
in
Haus.
Frankfurt,
Yeah.
and if there's a flight to Washington D.C., maybe I just go straight to my aunt's house for a day and show her
Ich
all
würde sagen,
the
das ist ein bisschen strammer, oder?
I might. I mean, because I've got two more coupons left. So.
Geht das so? Ich meine, und das heißt
And
dann
then-
Strammer machen, Michael?
Do we
Ja.
have? Das geht.
Auch alle Fotos, wo die
Oh, this is the crayon, yeah?
Well, you can choose if you've got gold and you've got blue.
I'm gonna try the gold
Yeah,
first.
okay.
And then, do you have any advice?
Thank you.
Do I just
Any advice?
I just
Give
rub?
advice.
I just
Einfach rubbeln.
Like
Like
just
you did with a
rubbeln.
coin, like as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
You want to try like in a coin. If you do it in a coin, like, ich kann auch mithelfen, aber ich denke, es ist schon, wenn man es alleine macht, ne?
I'm also gonna give you this back. So
Yeah.
just hold on to that.
I have to be watching you, you're getting embarrassed now,
Yeah.
aren't you?
No. I'm just worried I'm gonna make a mess of it.
I think you have to do it quite hard. It's working. Come. Klasse. Interessant, ne? Finde ich. It's good. It's coming up good. Aber Rosenberg kann man an die Daten kann man ganz schlecht. Ja. It's beautiful.
Eben andenken.
Ich glaube dem, das erste Wort ist, glaube ich, dem.
Dem andenken. Unseres vielleicht?
Ja. Unseres
Geliebte?
Geliebten
geliebte
Mannes,
Mann.
Mannes,
Unseres
unserer
Leben, no.
Träum
Träum?
Vaters Bendix Rosenwald.
Rosenwald.
Geboren 2.
2. Juni.
Ach schade, ich dachte gerade 2. Juli, das ist nämlich mein Geburtstag. Die Jahreszahl kann ich nicht lesen, aber das müsste
Ich glaube 1862. You're welcome. No, das ist der Vater von Bertha. Bertha. Simon war der Vater von Lotte und Simon ist nach USA gegangen.
Ach, Lotte ist nicht die Schwester von Bertha.
Nicht.
Ach so.
Es ist die Cousine. Und sie hat the same age as Kata. Lotte and Kata were 1 week apart, and they were in school together in Bunde. Lotte and Kata. And Otto, the oldest son of Simon, and Bertha were both born in 1895. Bertha, my grandmother, and Otto were born the same year, and they were in school together.
Ja.
Also in. Or they were the same age at least.
Another one there.
I know.
Und da fängt das auf einmal Aber wenn Sie dann auf einmal in die
Can you read it?
I can read it. I can read it from here. Zum Andenken meines geliebten Mannes.
Also ich glaube, dass da
Unseres-
dem Andenken steht. Muss weiter.
Sorry, wem Andenken? Ja.
Dem Andenken meines geliebten
Mannes?
Mannes, unseres treuen Vaters, Bendix Rosenwald. Geboren 2. Juni 1862. Gestorben 13. April. Und dann steht da drunter noch ein Jahr, aber das kann ich nicht lesen.
1919.
1990, ja.
Will ich ganz noch einmal gucken?
Weg.
Das ist gut, ja?
It's good.
And I'll do it again with blue.
It's really good. Do you want to do another one?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want us
'Cause
to
I-
help you with the other one? Do you
Sure,
want,
sure.
Want one person to help you?
Sure.
Be quicker for you? Or do you want to do it yourself?
Either way, if somebody
Oh,
wants to.
that's all right.
Or the other thing is, would really be nice is if somebody would rub Helena
Yeah.
for my cousins.
Yeah. Here.
Because they would really.
What
And
color?
well, actually, you know who it's for is Lotte. That's
Helena
her.
for
That's her
Lotte.
mother,
Okay.
isn't it?
In blue or gold?
Okay, Gold machen. Und die beiden, glaube ich, wollen die nächsten machen. Schön geworden. It's very nice.
Isn't it? And actually, this was the idea of a teacher that I work with. A teacher that I work with suggested that if I go to a cemetery, that I take a rubbing. So it was Rose Arzu's idea.
Okay, we'll put this carefully aside and you
And take
take
a
in a paper and get the kids to the and you have to talk to me about any oh, that's good paper, isn't it?
It's really good paper, yeah.
Farbe.
Das ist schön.
Yeah, I
Das ist
prefer the
weit
good.
noch.
Hier ist noch einer.
Ich halte das. Nee, ist vielleicht besser. Okay.
No. I think I might show it better. It might be easier to read it. The word. They had to say about the businesses
Yeah,
too, you know,
that is
to
really
learn, you know, there's always two sides to the story, you know,
Yeah.
and so who knows, you know, I wanted to say something about, so if they were really powerful Nazis, they wouldn't have had to pay twice.
I know, I know.
think it's easier to read in black, yeah, than in gold.
Thanks for our next year we have history or test.
Kommt nochmal deutlicher raus.
Das weiß ich. Also so tief sind wir jetzt
Vielleicht
noch
auf
nicht
den Papier
gegangen.
anlegen, wo die anderen sind.
Ah, nice. Very nice.
So, Kamera läuft.
Theodora Löwenstein was a very famous person in Bünde, and a lot of person loved her. And she was allowed to go to America, but Erwin wasn't allowed to go.
And who was Erwin?
Erwin Löwenstein.
Yeah. Was that her son?
That was her son.
Uh-huh.
And her daughter went to America
Uh-huh.
with her
Husband?
husband and her son.
Two sons. Yeah.
Two sons, Gerd and Henry.
Uh-huh.
And we wrote a little bit Gespräch
A conversation. We imagined a
conversation.
dialogue.
between them when Hertha, her daughter, tried to take her mother with her to America
Mm-hmm.
because she thought that she will die in Germany
Mhm.
if she wouldn't come with her.
And where did they end up in America? The family, the Löwensteins? Where do they live now?
They live in Louisiana.
Yeah. That's interesting because there's also a connection between the Rosenwalds and New Orleans because there was this family from Brunda, or the son, Samuel Rosenwald, who left Brunda in 1854. He was the brother of Bernhard and Hermann Rosenwald, who are buried here. Well, at least Hermann is. And Samuel's granddaughter was Edith Rosenwald. She was the daughter of Julius Rosenwald, who was the son of Samuel Rosenwald. So Edith Rosenwald was very much like her father, Julius Rosenwald, a philanthropist who gave a lot of money to help people. And so I'm sure the Löwensteins know of Edith Rosenwald Stern. She was very well known in New Orleans because she and her husband were very generous, very good people who did a lot of good work, giving money to causes to help people. So, and they have there's a house there. Yeah, I'm sure they have. Yeah, there's a house there called Longview, that's a museum now to the Sterns, to Edith and her husband Edgar, who were the same age. Edith was born in 1895, like my grandmother Bertha, so they were from the same generation. Edith and they were, I guess, second cousins. I think. Yeah, because Julius Rosenwald was the first cousin of Bendix, because the fathers Hermann and Samuel were brothers. So the next generation was first cousins, and then my grandmother was the second cousin of Edith. So.
Theodora stayed here though, as Christoph said. She didn't leave. She wanted to wait till they came back. And she was, you can see that it says there, she lost her life, it says here, in Auschwitz. In fact, she was taken to Theresienstadt on the 29th of June 1942. And from Theresienstadt, she was deported to Auschwitz, where she died, where she was murdered.
Yeah, and hearing that they did that to such an old woman
at the age of 68.
Very depressing.
Yeah.
Very, very depressing.
And you thought, I've got so many friends in Bünde.
That nothing bad can happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing bad can happen, and I'm such an old woman.
They wouldn't do something. Yeah.
They needn't me. I'm old.
Why would they bother? Why
in
would
some
they bother?
years I will die, and nothing can happen.
Yeah, it's
And Frau
very
Redeker
sad.
remembered her too, didn't she? Frau Redeker
Yes.
met her, I think.
Frau Redeker met her.
the Rubens maid. Yeah.
Yeah.
The woman who worked
Paula.
at the Rubens house.
Yeah.
Paula.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, baby. Yeah.
And Mrs. Loewenstein.
What about an interview with David then here? Vielleicht können wir das Interview mit ihm hier machen. No.
So, kann
Why?
losgehen.
Why did you come to Bünde?
Well, I've always heard about Bunda. All my life, I've heard about this town. And my aunt and my mother would come to visit their grandmother. Emma was the grandmother of my mother. And they loved their grandmother very much. And they had very, very happy memories of Bunda. And so for me, it was a little bit of a magic place because I had heard about it all my life from when I was a child. And it was a very important city for my family because we were here for, as far as I know, as far back as we can trace it, to before 1800. The Rosenwald family was in Bunda. So in my family, it's always been very important. So, and I wanted to see the house where my grandmother lived. And also my grandmother and grandfather built the house. It's now Friedrichstraße 8. And before it was Friedrichstraße 32. And, you know, my aunt would talk about how wonderful the garden was. And there was, do you know what espalier is? Espalier? It's when you take the tree and you put it on the wall and you cut all the branches off. And there were peach trees and I think an apple tree and various fruit trees in the garden. And so I had in my mind that this must be a really wonderful house and I would like to see it. And I always wanted to come and knock on the door so I could go inside and see the house where they lived.
And what did your friends said when you decided to go to Bünde?
Well, my friends all thought it was really wonderful, but my family wondered why do you want to go to Bünde? And but my friends all thought it was very interesting that I knew so much about my family and that I knew about this house and where they lived and what they did for work, because my great-grandfather, Bendix Rosenwald, was a cigar manufacturer, Zigarfabrikant. And I knew that behind the house was the factory. And so that sounded so interesting to me, and my friends also thought it was interesting. But my family would ask me why, you were never there, why would you want to go, And I think that what my mother used to say is very true. I don't know if you'll understand. You live on in the memories of those you leave behind, which means that Emma and Bendix and all these people continue to live because of the stories. And so if I tell you the story, then that brings them, again, more to life. And then also what you're doing with Netzwerk, also you're keeping these people alive, that we don't forget. We don't forget what was lost when these people were murdered. And that's, to me, very, very important. And especially for young people to know, that there were really wonderful people, and that we should also never, ever allow something like this to happen again. And the only way you can do that is by knowing what happened, which is very hard, I think. No? Don't you think? It's hard work, but I think it's very important work. Don't you agree? Or yeah. Do you find it interesting, the stories?
It's interesting, but it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear, I met Jack Adler, and he was hardly killed in experiments for the pilots when they are in the air, how much pressure, they can have, or it's good for them, and they were all killed, and the eyes came out of the face, and it was horrible.
Disgusting. Yeah.
Experiments, yeah?
Yeah. But I think we have to know, because that is what happened.
Yeah, we shouldn't close our eyes before that.
We can't, because if we do, then I think that Frau Whitelaw said, then you kill the people twice. You killed them once, really, and then by not talking about them, you kill them again. And so, I think it's very, very important, both here and in the United States, because, I don't think there's ever been anything on the scale of the Holocaust before, and I hope that we never do something like that again. But in order to keep that from happening, we must all talk about it and learn from it, but it's unimaginable. We can't. It's and for instance, an old woman like Thea Löwenstein, who was a very nice person, who did good things and never hurt anybody. You can't understand. It's unimaginable. Why would somebody do what they did, or how could you do what you did? Just one person. And then the children. I mean, it's very, very hard. But we can learn from it though, and make choices. We make choices about what we do. If we see somebody who is saying something mean to somebody, and then rather than saying, "Oh, that's not my problem," it's better to say something. Don't leave them alone, or because it can be something very simple, or it can be something really horrible. But justice. We always have to pay attention and think, what would I do if I'm faced with a choice of helping or not helping? Do I help or do I not help? And sometimes it's very dangerous to help, and we have to know before we're faced with the situation. We have to think about it so that hopefully we do the right thing when we're faced with that decision. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
And what do you think about Germany?
I'm still very, I wanted to come and I didn't want to come. But because I knew that all of you were here, that was the first time that I thought, now I will go to Germany. And I've met many wonderful people. And that is, what I know from my life is that there are always very nice people and there are always not so nice people. And I try to spend more time with nice people. And so I'm very happy that I found nice people in Bunda, because that makes me very happy. And for instance, the family who lives in the house that my great-grandparents built are very nice people. The Schusters, yeah. And they invited me into their home and they showed me the house. And I'm very happy that it's both a nice family and that it's also a cigar family, because that makes sense to me. It's,
And we're going to visit their factory now.
Yeah, and we're gonna go visit the factory.
How are you? Good, how are you?
Hallo.
Moin.
Katharina und Katrin.
Ja, genau.
No, von der Netzwerkgruppe.
Also, ja.
Ja, Christina kann nicht heute Morgen, Frau Weidler. Da sind
Ja.
wir jetzt mitgekommen.
Ja, prima, können wir ja gleich mal einen Rundgang machen.
Darf Herr Kase etwas filmen, ja?
Gut, kein Problem.
Geht nichts von kaputt.
Also höchstens die Kamera, wenn er irgendwo dran stößt.
We asked if he may
If he minds the filming?
with the video.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Yeah.
Start immediately.
Christoph, wart ihr schon mal in der Zigarrenfabrik?
Nein.
We were working but we must make special plan on this, and we didn't want to change our festival. We don't even know what you did. What I, for example, know, there's big volume sold of this material to the United States cigar industry.
Really?
Yes, I was very surprised. I heard about it. It's only
German
3 years
tobacco.
ago. Yes.
Do you think that it would be easier to get it from South America?
Yes, of course, but it's a special. Overrolling, like quick running overrolling machines, where they are applying the leaf, the wrapper, automatically.
Very fine.
Yes, it's one of the most expensive tobaccos in the world.
Wow.
Because it's estimated, especially for the European cigar industry. In the American market, they call the European cigars a dry cigar, so it's different cigar compared to the non-filler products from the Caribbean countries.
And does it burn differently, or?
Yes, they taste a little bit different, they burn a little bit different, and they mainly use a little bit different material.
Is this your favorite, or no?
Yes, it's good tobacco, there's no doubt about it. You can work with it, excellent. And it's to the European traditions, you know. Indonesia in former days had been a colony of Netherlands. So they cultivated the tobacco over there. And this is finally the result. The structures are still running today, what they built up. They make sauce.
S1 tobacco, yeah. And then that's more expensive, yeah. Yeah.
This is Brazilian leaf. The direction of
the cigar. I see.
And to reach this aim, you have to roll right
and a spiral. Yeah.
And left. So it's the same with the machines.
Yeah.
The machines are completely identical, but like a mirror, you know. So you have a left machine and the right machine
for one side or the other side of
yes,
the
that's it. It's not the same all over the world.
So this is just Sumatra, is the S. The S, does the S mean Sumatra?
No. S, no. Excuse me. This S is only for this type of tobacco. It's a big second length, and the small one. Tobacco, it's no problem. We have a big freezer upstairs and another one. This one is necessary for the imported cigars too. There's a small beetle.
You've probably been using the gas.
Yeah, of course. It's much more natural and you don't have any poisons in the.
And then do you
cigar.
keep them frozen, or you don't?
No,
keep them frozen?
we
you just freeze it and then thaw
for 1 week.
And then you thaw it.
And then they come into the humidor room where you have humidity of 72%. So you keep it in the inventory and have a good consistency afterwards.
So if you buy a cigar and you want to keep it, you should have it in a humidor. You should have it in 72% humidity.
Yeah, that's it.
And if you don't, then it's not so good.
Depends on weather conditions. If you are
right, but if it goes up and down, and then it's not good.
Up to a certain extent, they can afford. You can afford to do this.
Yeah.
And, you won't kill the cigar finally.
No. But it'll be different.
If you look on the raw material, it's dry in baking. You make a cigar seminar. Those are nearly the same machines everywhere. All of different sizes. Then it's taken over by this, and it's sucked
air sucked off. This one is coming up. And then this is the rolling facility over there. You put the bunch inside, and those small rolls are running, and so the bunch is rolling. And then the wrapper is applied at the tip here, and then it's rolling, and this is coming back again in the same altitude, like it's worked up here. It's behind.
And this all used to be done by hand?
Yeah, it's finally it's the same process
as by hand.
By hand. So then I can to you estimate the best, but it's called sand leaf because it's down on the floor, and of course there's sand on the leaf, and it roll to the right and to the left, cut here or here afterwards. Because when you have, as I explained, the one half of the leaf must be rolled to the right and the other half to the left.
Yeah.
So the bunch is here with the leaf together, and you roll it this way. If you roll it the other way around, it loosens and breaks. So you can put it this direction and roll
it that way.
and this way, and they can roll it, and it wouldn't get.
You wouldn't unbunch. It wouldn't unbunch.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, except those yellows.
But otherwise they're uncut.
All the others are uncut.
The smoker has to have a cutter, cut the cigar, and then you smoke.
For a cigar smoker, it's
a ritual.
Yeah, that's it. To cut the cigars.
I've always had that question, like why cut? But if it's cut, it's done.
Mostly in Holland, they have already cut cigars.
Okay.
Even the bigger sizes.
Yeah, but you don't.
But it depends a little bit on the technique. They have a little bit different technique. They have mainly those machines over there from Arenco. Arenco originally was a company in Sweden, and they went together with the other machine building company in Holland. And the technique to form the head of the cigar is not so good in those machines. They are better in those machines here.
Do you prefer to?
No, I personally prefer a normal scissor.
Just a scissors.
Yeah.
And then you cut twice or just once?
Yeah, once.
And how big of a cut?
Special scissors for cigars with those round.
But this would work, yeah?
No, not so good.
No?
You could damage the cigar very much.
Oh, really?
But I can show you a cigar scissor. They are formed like this. The blade itself is formed round, and then you can cut it from all the sides, and therefore it's the best way to cut it. But I show you.
Okay.
So all those are similar machines at different sizes. The process is nearly the same everywhere. Between the normal cheap cigar and cigars like we are producing.